Hello everyone and merry meet. I have my cup of coffee here, so I'm ready for a video. So I was checking my Facebook and I came across on the YouTube Pagans page on Facebook that they were having a YouTube Pagan challenge, which basically is one question per week for the year. I had to kind of get some clarification for this because I was so tired when I first read it because there were like 52 questions, I think. And I'm thinking, did we do all this in a video or this or that? And so, no, it was confirmed that it is one question per week, which kind of makes sense because I think there is, 52 weeks in the year? Is it really? I thought there would have been more. Maybe it just seems like there should be more, should be less, or whatever. But that's good because, as you recently know, if you watch my channel and you've seen my new videos, well, either way, if you're watching this, you'll know by the name that I recently changed my name. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I haven't had enough of this yet. I recently changed my username, my YouTube channel name, to Pagan Pages. I will still be doing different types of reviews, my Friday Fives and everything else, but I really want to focus a lot on videos about my spirituality, me learning about different types of spirituality, and books, because I do consider myself to be a writer and a major reader. So I thought this pagan challenge would be perfect to start out, the year and really get the spiritual side of my channel going. I have a lot of videos on it already, and this is just gonna keep me going. So, before I bore you all to death, this week's question, and the week is almost up, so I definitely gotta get this in there. This week's question is, how did you find your path? And that one's kind of hard. It's easy in a way, because there's like the short version and then a longer version, and yeah. So, short version, I found out about paganism technically from a book. I was reading a book and had a section on religion. It was like one of those fact books, and I came across Wicca. And it more or less mentioned Dianic Wicca. And I kind of looked that up, and then I found other versions of Wicca, and I found Eclectic Wicca. And yeah, that's sort of kind of the short version of it. Other things have been mixed into it and my influence. But that's kind of the starting point. That's like where I first heard of Wicca, technically. A lot of where I got things do technically revolve around misunderstanding, stereotypes, stuff like that. But research and talking with people online helped me understand where those things came from, what was true and what was not. So, how I discovered my path was just through research, education, stuff like that. It's fairly simple. So, I was raised Catholic, as I've mentioned in other videos and to other people. And another YouTuber I just watched just today talked about how Catholicism really is ritualistic, which it is. are a lot of pagan-esque elements in that religion if you really look deeply. And so I guess that's why I didn't have too much of a problem breaking away, just because there are certain things in Wicca, depending on your path in Wicca and how you see things, because just like there are different types of Christians, there are different types of Wiccans, or different types of pagans. As the time has gone on, I've considered myself more just generally pagan than Wiccan, but Wicca is probably one of the ones I lean on most. So, my sister and I, we got a book from Barnes & Noble called The Idiot's Guide to Witchcraft and Wicca, which some people may not like, some people may not care, whatever, but we were only like 16, 17 at the time, so that really is a good starting book. And there are elements in there that I found that many Wiccans will disagree with, while others agree with, and like I said, some just don't care either way. Paganism, even Wicca, is very vast, so it's just important to remember to respect other people's opinions. There are things from Catholicism that I still hang on to that I found in that book. And there, of course, were things that I disliked. That's why I left the religion. So the book talked about angels and reincarnation, or the possibility of rebirth, respect for nature, and stuff like that. And these were things that I kind of believed in even as a Christian, as just a straight Christian. And so, like I said, there are people who disagree and agree and whatever. But what I liked about it is that you were allowed to agree or disagree, and there wasn't no central authority. You had basic common beliefs. Obviously, if you're following a religion, you're going to have that. But what I really liked was that you could kind of branch out more in things like Wicca. That you were still allowed to be considered a pagan even if you didn't follow the exact same rituals, deities, beliefs that another pagan, Wiccan, etc. would believe in or follow. And I just loved, like I said, their respect for nature, their love of the moon, and everything else. So that really got me into it. The idea of gods from different mythology, not just the Christian pantheon. Some people refer to it as the Judeo-Christian pantheon or the Christian Trinity and other things, depending on how deeply you go into Abrahamic religions. So, for a while, I was looking into other religions, not just Wicca, but other things too. It was just that Wicca, for the most part, really stuck as a base for my beliefs. There was a lot of it I agreed with, and a lot of it I disagreed with depending on the tradition. I could never be like Gardnerian or any kind of British traditional. I will always be eclectic. I think even as a Christian, when I was getting older, I still had an eclectic mind, just because I saw things from other religions. And I either agreed or disagreed, and I incorporated it into my own belief system. I wasn't like, well, this is Hindu, or this is Tao, or this is whatever, and I'm a Christian. I can't believe in that, even if it makes sense to me. I'm like forbidden from that. That's not the mind frame I had as a teenager when I was getting older. And so I think in a way I will always be eclectic or syncretic, but there are just certain things that I will lean on more than the others because I agree with them more. I take more from them. So yeah, I basically found Wicca from books, and then I started researching it online. At first, it seems very magical, very overwhelming in some aspects because, of course, it is new. It's Wicca itself is not an old religion. It's only as old as like the 50s. Maybe a little bit older, but I think it's more established around then. Paganism itself, however, is one of the oldest belief systems ever. And so, like I said, I got into it as a teen, and it seems kind of otherworldly in a way. And I don't think that's just Wicca. I think that's anything else that you experience for the first time that you were not raised with. And for a while, I thought I couldn't be a good Wiccan just because, I was younger, I didn't have a job. When I did have a job, I didn't have a lot of money and this and that. But I think, to some degree, when you're learning about new things, social media can be a good thing. You can speak with other people, and you can learn what really is important and what's not. It's nice to have ritual tools, but what's important is what you believe in, how you see your religion, how you see your God or your gods, whichever kind you believe in or whichever ones. And, being in a nature religion or a nature-based religion is the love of nature, of seeing divine in nature. It's not having all these tools and everything, even though they can help and they can be a better guide. Sometimes it's just going outside and just loving the creation that's around you. Another path that I'm very close to, but I haven't been to any temples or anything because I just have not got the chance, but I really want to, is the Sanatana Dharma, or more commonly known as Hinduism. I was into Hinduism actually before Wicca, but that's where the stereotypes came in. Not like hardcore stereotypes, but I've only seen the gods. I only knew basic beliefs. But I knew they believed in some type of form of like rebirth and other things that I found interesting that kind of were similar to my beliefs. But the only thing I knew about them was, mistakenly, I thought they were polytheistic. But I did like the fact that they had a few strong female gods. A lot of what we learn about Hinduism does come from India, and much like Islamic countries and people and stuff, a lot of things in America we mix up culture and religion. We also kind of mix government ruling with culture, and we think just because a few select people do things that reflects the whole group of people. That's for a whole other video or a whole other discussion. But there's a lot of stereotypes about Hinduism or Indians in general, that women are often beaten, burned widows, cow worshipping, stuff like that. And so Hinduism was kind of put off from me for a little while just because that was what I was exposed to through media. They were either, like I said, cartoony, stereotypical things or not very good to women, which isn't true at all. As I got older and was online and interacted with people from around the world, I got to see different sides of things. I hope one day I can actually go physically to places and meet real people and such and interact with other cultures. But for now, it has to be through online, which is okay because you still get to communicate with people. And I got to talking to a girl who called herself a Vedantist, I think I want to say. And she wasn't oppressed at all. In fact, according to her, most of the houses were ruled by the women. And, I got to learning that there are different types of Hinduism. Some where females are very strong, others where things are more equal, and that itself is just a vast religion. And when I got to learning the truth about it, that's another one I fell in love with, almost a little bit more than Wicca in some ways, just because Hinduism, what I learned about it, really hit the spot. Not just it, any religion practiced in the right way with love is absolutely beautiful. Hinduism sees, this is what I learned, all life as valid, all religions as valid. We all come from the same source. We all have God within us. And that kind of stuff just really made sense to me. And it didn't have to clash with Wicca. I know some people say Wicca is like watered down Hinduism to some degree. And while that terminology may not be very polite to say, in some ways it's true, just because a lot of elements in Wicca seem to have been taken from things like Hinduism. So it kind of can balance itself out. You obviously can be Hindu and incorporate Wiccan elements or vice versa. So yeah, as I go on, I am researching more and more things. I'm going back to somewhat of the Abrahamic religions, but in the mystical aspects. I want to learn more about Kabbalah and Sufism. I read brief things out of a book about Kabbalah, and while their history of kind of not letting women do things does bother me, there are some things that they talked about in the book that I do agree with about things in the Bible being a little bit more metaphorical than literal, which I can tend to agree with. That makes a lot of sense. Sufism and their love of God, especially universal Sufism, there are aspects of Islam that I do appreciate and agree with, and there are others that I do not, because I do use different deities and such, and I do use statues in my practice. I have come across Christo-paganism, which is paganism mainly with Christ as a deity, or using the Christian Trinity and this and that as your main gods. I somewhat consider myself an eclectic Christo-pagan. I say pagan more than Wiccan, like I said, because I do love Wicca, but I also love Hinduism, which sometimes some people do consider a form of paganism. I'm trying to learn more about heathenism, Asatru, Odinism, um, Cometicism, Druidry, and such. I am to some degree a monotheist. I do believe that there is one deity that comes in many forms, so that's why I think Hinduism probably is the closest to what I am. If I had to pick, something, it's between Hinduism, Wicca, and like a liberal, mystical version of Christianity. And I'm sorry, I know this video is all over the place, but the point is, I'm still finding my path. I guess you would say that I'm syncretic or eclectic, which I've pretty much said before. And how I discovered it is, research, books, through mythology. I love reading. I've always been fascinated by things in mythology, especially Hindu mythology. Greek mythology is always very good to read. Egyptian is fascinating. I love the 42. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's 42. Rules or ideals of Ma'at. And I love that it's not just a goddess, but a personification of, justice and everything else. Oh, okay. Sorry. My tummy. And even though I do not agree with the Egyptian afterlife or how they get to the afterlife, because I'm more of a person that believes in reincarnation than eternal damnation, which will make sense if you read about the Hall of Ma'at and the weighing of the heart. I in some ways like the concept because evil people, like say Hitler or serial killers or terrorists, would not be in existence anymore. But at the same time, I do kind of believe in that loving, forgiving God and the ideas of reincarnation, or rebirth, I should say, and kind of paying for things instead of just having it wiped out. Because in some ways, while it's good that certain people not exist anymore, not existing kind of also equals not having to pay for what you've done. And seeing good people suffer, or just innocent people, period, while nothing really happens to the bad guys, I just can't go for that. And it may sound mean and when I say cruel, but I can't be any crueler than those people. So, like I said, my path is still finding itself. It's still shaping itself. But that's kind of a sort of brief overview of how I got into my path. I got into it because I was interested in things. I thought things sounded cool. I got in line and I found out what things really were. And instead of being disappointed, luckily, I was even more excited because they weren't just these fantasy kind of things. They had actual depth and belief and unity into them. So, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, I will attempt to make better ones. Well, I'll try and make better ones either way. But I really, really hope you guys didn't like get bored of this, or just, yeah. What I'm trying to say is thank you for watching. And if you like this, subscribe or give me a like. I'll see you guys later. Bye. I will see you later if I can shut this video off.